everyone, and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Today I'm going to do a solo playthrough of Albion's Legacy. I am going to have a helper though. My wife is going to help me, so hopefully we can video this all in one night because this is not a short game. But it is a lot of fun, and just like normal, this will be a setup video, show you how to set it up. There's lots of things, lots of tokens to set up, so I want to show you guys how to do that. And then the second video in the playlist will be the playthrough. If you want to just jump right to the playthrough, feel free to check out that video. Otherwise, let's get to setting up. First thing that you're going to want to set up is your tile deck. Okay, so you have the general tiles that you'll use in every game, and then depending on if you use an expansion, the expansion tiles as well. I'm going to be using one expansion, and so I have those expansion tiles as well as the regular tiles in this pile. There's also enemy-specific tiles, so when you have a severe threat that has a named enemy, many times those named enemies have their own tile that they come out on, and that are these. And you can tell that they're those specific tiles by that icon on the back side. You can also see that there's three different pictures on the back side of these tiles. Some of them will have less, like that one just has mountains. That tells you where you can place those tiles, so when you go exploring, you can only place certain tiles in certain areas. Over here we have the general threat deck and the severe threat deck. And each time we flip a specific tile, we're going to have to draw one of those and spawn enemies. This token tells us where we need to draw from next. So you'll always start on the severe threats, and then I'll move this token over here to do a general threat, and back and forth, back and forth. These awesome tokens are called quest tokens. You need to obtain 3 of those per player for a game of Albion's Legacy. No matter what scenario you do, you will have to obtain 3 per player. Since I'm doing a solo playthrough, I'm playing with 3 characters, so I need to obtain 9 of those. The scenario that we're going to do today, because this game is scenario-based, is called The Cleansing. Let me read it to you. The threats that roam the lands have begun desecrating Albion. King Arthur and his allies must travel the lands, challenging the threats and cleansing the desecrated areas. To win the game, each of the following realm tiles must contain a story token at the same time. When you enter one of the following realm tiles, you may attempt a challenge rating of 4 using any attribute other than movement to place a story token on the realm tile. If you fail the challenge, nothing happens. You may also spend 2 quest coins before rolling to automatically succeed on the challenge. So we need to find these specific tiles, and then with that complete a challenge of any type of attribute that we want and put a story token on them. And then we have to protect those story tokens because down below, right down here, it says when an undead, demon, or magic creature enemy token enters a realm tile that contains a story token, the story token is removed. So we've got to be very careful. We don't want to have our story tokens removed because they all have to be there at the same time. You can see here by this icon, this is from one of the expansions. So we're doing, the Holy Grail expansion, that's what it's called. We're doing the Holy Grail expansion, and so I'll have Holy Grail cards in all of the decks as well as the enemies. Here we have the Virtue Plaques. One of the ways that we can lose is if we run out of these. Anytime a character is retired, as they're called, we have to discard one of these. But also, a lot of these have great benefits on them, and we can obtain them during the game. We just have to be careful that we don't run out of these. You will set these up at 6 of them plus the amount of characters, so I have a total of 9 in this stack. Here we have Camelot. So what we're going to do is we're all going to start at the round table. All these different rooms have different effects, and I'm just going to explain them as we go. No need to go through them right now. What you do need to know is there are 3 exits. We've got the drawbridge, the sally port, and the docks. And the drawbridge, you will only be able to flip mountain tiles. The sally port, you're only going to be able to flip forest tiles, and the docks, you're only going to be able to flip dock tiles, okay? And as you're exploring through, if ever the docks and the sally port can combine into one, that's awesome, because then when you flip tiles, you can put either a forest or a dock type. Also, do you see these 8 flames of hope here? Each round, one of those is going to be extinguished. And if we cannot in 8 rounds complete our story quest plus obtain those 9 quest tokens, we lose the game. As I mentioned before, we're going to be playing with 3 characters. Our first is Sir Lancelot. He is pretty awesome because he gets 5 destiny tokens. Destiny tokens help us to re-roll when we do challenges. We always start out with one weapon and one armor item. And we have a personal quest, a favored enemies, and special ability. Our personal quest is how we can get a specific artifact. Every character will have 2 favored enemies, so his is knights and dragons, and then his special ability is he starts with 5 destiny tokens. And if ever he gets one back, he can actually get 2 back, which is awesome. So those destiny tokens are really helpful. He can take 1 wound. After he takes 1 wound and he takes another, he's retired. Our second character is Elaine the White. Her special ability is that she actually starts with a virtue plaque, and hers is truth. This is such an awesome virtue plaque. Her virtue plaque says, when spending destiny tokens to re-roll it for a challenge, you may declare a bonus attribute on the stones of chance to roll for and count as a success for a total of 3 attributes. So normally when you use a destiny token to re-roll, you get to choose a second attribute to be a success. She will actually get to choose 2, which is really, really nice. She also has the potential of having 2 plaques at one time. And you can see here, her favorite enemies are demons and druids. She'll get to roll 1 extra die. Last but not least, we have Sir Palamedes. I'm terrible at saying these names, you guys. His favorite enemies are knights and warlocks. He has an awesome special ability where he can obtain a mount card before the mount cards become unlocked. Mount cards, all they do is give you additional movement. But in this game, movements are kind of like your action points. And so he can get additional action points right away. Really cool. He also can only take 1 wound, and he starts with the normal weapon and armor items. This game comes with tons of cards. We've got our encounter deck, our armor deck, our mount deck, which will be locked except for Palamedes until we obtain 3 quest coins, a relic deck, an item deck, and an artifact deck. The artifact deck will only be used for if we complete our personal quest. Otherwise, for defeating named enemies, we may be able to do spoils draws, and we can get items, relics, or armor cards that way. We also, depending on where we end our movement, if the tile has a special ability, we're able to grab item, relic, or armor cards. Down here, we're going to keep track of our active roaming threat cards, and that's going to be letting us know which enemies are on the board and how they act. They can act in different ways. Aggressively, they might have a specific objective, or they may even hunt somebody. So there's lots of different things going on. Last, we're going to talk about the Stones of Chance. The Stones of Chance are going to be used to fight enemies, and enemies will have certain attributes that you can fight them with. You can fight them with loyalty or prowess or maybe altruism, and so you'll roll the amount of dice equal to whatever your stat level is on of that particular attribute, and if you get the appropriate amount of successes, then you will defeat the enemy. There is one really awesome side to each one of these dice, and that is the mana burst. Whenever you roll that, that's considered 2 successes of any type, which is incredibly helpful, and you're going to want to roll that all the time. We'll also use this D6 just to do some spawning. A lot of cards, especially general threat cards, will say spawn D6, 1 D6 worth of enemies. So this will let us know how many we're going to spawn. Here we have all the different types of enemies. There are 12 different types of enemies, plus there's named enemies within each one and non-named. Named enemies, the only difference is you can get spoils draws when you defeat them, but they also need 4 of a specific attribute to defeat them versus 3. But yeah, tons of tokens in this game, so there's going to be lots of movement. I love it. It's the Ameritrash fun dice chucking, let's defeat some enemies games. And that, my friends, is the setup for Albion's Legacy. Wonderful King Arthur game. Hope you guys are excited for the playthrough, because I know I am. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.